All right, welcome to another episode of Charlie and the Boys. I am your host, Steven Chalicum, and you can follow this show on Twitter at CharlieATB. This guy, oh, my finger disappears. This one is William. This one is Stash, aka Josh, joined with us tonight to celebrate and discuss the Week 3 humongous win against the New York, not so good anymore football Giants, whatever they're going by nowadays. Um, So with that being said, or with introductions or whatever out of the way, let's start. Stash, let's start with you since Will and I already kind of spoke about this a little bit. What's your biggest takeaway from the Week 3 win, whether it be about the Cowboys or even the Giants, players, front office, whatever? Hit us with what's the biggest thing on your mind, I guess.
I guess the biggest thing for me, just off of just this specific game, is it seems like Dallas finally has a productive game plan for Tony Pollard.
Hmm.
So they figured
Okay.
out
Yeah.
possibly how to use him properly, which is something that we haven't quite seen.
Yeah, so I don't actually. That's a really good point. I don't have the snap count in front of me, but I know the rushes were close to 50-50 split. It was like 13 and 15 between the two, I think, or something like that, somewhere in the ballpark. So
It
yeah,
was
that was a
13, yeah, 13 for Pollard, 15 for Zeke.
yeah, so
So
that was a pleasant surprise. And Pollard was extremely efficient on the ground. I don't know what their actual snap count was, but I'm sure it was probably closer to like a 35-65 split. Is that the
I don't
right
know.
math? Yeah.
Pollard finished the game, dude. I don't think
yeah,
that's ever happened before.
no, yeah, Pollard was their go-to back at the end.
Yeah,
So
and it was nice. So I did a little tweeting action during the game for once. Not that anybody actually looks at it, but anyway. So it was nice, dude. When Peters came in at left guard, it was nice to see Pollard be the one getting the carries during that. Because if that was Zeke, Zeke wasn't ripping off that 46-yard run. You know, it wasn't happening. I understand he parted Peters and Tyler Smith parted the fucking Red Sea, but I don't know that Zeke was getting that far down the field.
No, yeah, he doesn't have the same speed
No,
Pollard has. I mean, he
it'd have
probably
been
got like 30 or
yeah,
something,
it
right?
would have probably still been a really nice run, but it wouldn't have been the 45, 46 yarder that Pollard got. So that's a good point, Sesh. Did you have anything to add to that before we ask young Will what his
no, not nothing
takeaways?
at this time. Just that was just very similar to the week before. So it's just how they have to win games. They have to win them ugly.
Yeah,
So
I mean, okay,
You don't.
we'll get back to that because actually I don't know that the game was as ugly. I think it was relatively clean considering everything. However, but Will, let's see what you got first, or not see what you got.
Well,
But let's talk about what you
well,
got.
you said that. Do you think that they planned that out ahead of time when Peters was going to come in the game that Pollard was going to be the running back on the field?
No.
Okay, I was curious how it got how you
I
worded it.
I mean, so I no, I don't think they planned that out. I think it was a coincidence, and I'm glad it worked out that way. Now, if they came out and not that they would ever come out and say, yeah, we put Peters and Pollard on the field at the same time because we figured we would get this explosive gain. You're right. I just think they'd be lying through their teeth. But if
Yeah.
they were just like, hey, let's get Peters out there and see if we can get a couple explosive plays off, maybe they were expecting 12-yard run or whatever, right? Like I
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
be more in line with accepting that as the truth, but they would never come out and say anything like that. I don't think.
Uh, but like for me personally, I mean, I really liked what Stash said. That they got Pollard, they found like they got Pollard involved. I'd like to see it a couple weeks in a row before I like
Really buy in.
well,
wasn't
yeah,
just say it was a one-off. I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, we want them to happen the rest of the year, obviously, because then that means the Cowboys are looking pretty good. But I mean, my biggest takeaway, like I said before, is man, that might have been the best game Daniel Jones has ever played in the NFL. I mean, I can't remember. I mean, I haven't watched every single game, but man, listen, he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to. He doesn't have any offensive line, and I mean, he nothing he did was pretty. But man, like the amount of duress he was underneath the entire game, and he survived and at least kept them in the game as long as he did. You got to give him a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah, I mean he had 80 rushing yards or something wild like that, right? Like I'm not it obviously didn't win him the game, but he did everything he could to just try to, like we kind of previously said, essentially survive and keep drives alive. He couldn't really do it with his arm, of course, But as you've already said, his receivers aren't really going to give him much help. Yeah, I mean, he did what he could.
We agree, right, that the Giants have worse wide receivers than the Cowboys have?
Yeah.
They definitely performed
Okay, yeah, okay. Just want
worse.
to make sure. Well, no, I mean even just
Noah Brown was their
in
best receiver.
in a track meet, in a street fight, in a skill-based competition. Like I don't think the Giants are better than the Cowboys in any facet of the game from the receivers.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
just
I suppose
okay.
I wouldn't argue that. Yeah. Okay, I'll allow it. So I guess man, I don't really know what my biggest takeaway is, and it's a shame because I'm the one to go last. So you think I'd be the most prepared? Um,
You think, yeah?
yeah, I guess I wasn't prepared for that at all. I guess I'll go with maybe the low hanging fruit that the Cowboys pass rush is legit. All right, this is the worst offensive line they faced all year. So take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, they're leading the league in sacks, and this is just another example of how we expected their defense to regress to the mean in the sense that they would not have fucking 1,000 turnovers, but that they needed to succeed in other places, right? So we saw, like I mentioned last week with the open field tackle with Diggs, right? Like, not a big deal, but Diggs needs to make those tackles if he's not getting the picks, right? So defensive line needs to get these sacks if we're not going to be getting the picks or the forced fumbles, whatever, blah blah blah. So I'll take that, and that's nice to see because this is undoubtedly the best pass rush I've seen in my lifetime from the Cowboys. Now I don't think any, maybe
Me
with the
too.
exception of Micah Parsons, none of them are as good as DeMarcus Ware was as a single player. But we've never had a defensive line unit like this in my lifetime, and I'd have to do some research to see what it was like prior to that. But I, it'd probably be a safe bet that they haven't had anything like this. Now it's only 3 weeks, but um, through three
It's
weeks,
not gonna go. It's not gonna
yeah,
go
it
away.
doesn't just disappear, right? Like through 3 weeks, it's looking pretty damn good. With that being said, I actually had here verbatim that they still kind of suck dick against the run, and then I did some quick math, and that's actually, I'm gonna retract that. So just act like I never said that. And I think Saquon did exactly what we thought Saquon, or at least what I thought Saquon would do. He rips off one run, one
Didn't do
long
anything
run,
else.
like he fucks you once, and then nothing the rest of the game, right? Like so quick. Again, the quick math was he averaged, if you take away his one run, which give him, it was a nice run, touchdown, whatever, blah blah blah. He averaged 3.2 yards a carry, right? Like the Cowboys completely contained that. So that was a nice, pleasant stat to see.
I think they show you though the Giants that they were worried about running the ball against the Cowboys because the game was never out of reach, right? They were leading 13-6, right? I think that was just 13-6.
Yep,
They
13-6.
they could have just like they didn't just ever just hammer the ball. You know what I mean? Like they didn't
Yeah.
keep him. They could have used that. Let's grind a couple more first downs out, and then all of a sudden maybe the Cowboys can't make a run.
hmm I do
That says
know.
something. I don't know.
Yeah. So man, I gotta prepare better for this kind of stuff. So it was at one point in the game the Cowboys were leading. I think they were up a touchdown or whatever. Maybe it was like you were saying, 13-6 or something like that, or I think it was a little later in the game, but they were up a touchdown regardless. It was definitely in the third quarter, and I think they had a three and out. And before their three and out, it's like, man, like this is the time Dallas needs to just step on the fucking throats. Like this is I mean, they were definitely the worst 2-0 team in the league, and the Giants, of course. And I mean, they're just whatever. They're just not good, right? Like, so this is the time where Dallas needs to just fucking crush their opponent, and they didn't do it. I mean, they came away with the win in the long run, didn't matter, but like we still have yet to see, even last year, we never really saw Dallas like just continue to press on the gas. Besides the Washington and Eagles games, like yeah, and who cares about those?
I mean, with the offense in its current state, you're not going to see that.
Why
They're going to
not?
play because they're not going to take the risks, especially with this defense.
So yeah, I mean,
With Cooper Rush, he has his limitations.
miss me
Can't
with
ask.
that, right? So Pollard rushed for over 100 yards on 13 carries. You don't need Cooper Rush to fucking do anything. Just keep handing the ball off.
That's what they did.
Yeah, I agree, Stash. I don't think. I mean, I think they're limited on what they can do, but I mean, they tried too. I mean, what if Lamb catches that touchdown for 50 yards or whatever it was and runs it
Yeah,
in?
then it's a blowout. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, I guess that's why. I mean, they make mistakes still. You know what I mean? They're not. That's why I think Stash is right. Like, I don't like agreeing with Stash because, usually he doesn't have
Yeah,
the good ideas. You know what I'm saying?
this game should have been. I mean, Dallas should have had two other touchdowns, right? There was the Noah Brown interference in the end zone that was never called.
Oh yeah,
Now
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not a touchdown, right? But like you got to assume they get the ball in the one they probably punch it in.
yeah.
So yeah, the game was a blowout. I'm not saying like the offense was inefficient, but there was definitely a point in this game where they could have buried the Giants earlier in the game, and that's just what I would have liked to have seen, not this 7-point win. It could have been.
That's what I'm just saying though. Like with your backup quarterback in, no team's gonna really
Cooper
step
Rush
on
is a
the
starter,
throat.
dude.
I don't think a lot of teams like if you look at it, I don't think a lot of teams do just blow out everybody they play,
No,
even if
Yeah.
they
yeah,
are an
it would be
inferior
it
team.
is rare, or maybe not rare, but not common, I guess.
Like, I mean, if Diggs picks that ball off that he runs in front of, I mean, he takes that to the house. That changes the game too, right? So
Yeah,
they
and he
had
had
they had the opportunities. They just were just off on them.
yeah, and there was
Yeah.
like two of those too. Yeah,
Yeah, he was on it.
I mean, the last one was the most impressive one, just because he
Yeah,
got his
yeah.
actually hand
yeah,
underneath it. To, so, but
That was nice.
yep. So not in any order here. I'll just keep going off what I got, and we'll I guess maybe just keep going off that. So I got the Parsons effect here, right? Like I think that goes without saying, right? Parsons didn't have a sack this game. Excuse me. I was a little upset, right? Not at him, right? I was kind of just like, oh man, like set some records or something, whatever, blah blah blah. But you see Demarcus Lawrence rip off 3 sacks, and that is 98% because of the adjustments teams have to make for accounting for Micah Parsons, right? I only said 98% right because there was absolutely athleticism, whatever, on Demarcus Lawrence's part to get those sacks. Like it's not like he just walked up to Daniel Jones and like tackled him, even though he might as well have. But I just wanted to cover Micah Parsons again, generating space for other players on the line. Uh, Without getting a literal stat for the sack.
that's what elite players do.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a long time since Dallas had that type of player, and they might never have. I'm just saying, Demarcus Ware was not this effective early on.
Yeah, no, you're right.
yeah,
He had a lot of numbers, but you're right. This is different, man. It's just flat out different what Parsons is doing. It just is, you know.
Yeah.
But like I agree to a point, Steve. Like you're saying that I don't. eh, Maybe it was. I mean, Lawrence was on him all day. I mean, so was Parsons. I mean, they had every. I mean,
oh yeah, he's running
Fowler
for
was
his
in
life.
there, Armstrong was in
Yeah,
there, but like I don't know. Demarcus Lawrence used Evan Neal like,
sure.
and I mean, he's like, what was he? He was a top 15 pick, right?
He was
It was like three or
he was like
four.
the top six
Yeah,
pick or
okay,
something. Yeah,
and so like, you don't want to compare him to Tyler Smith or whatever, but you got to feel better about Tyler Smith right now. And that's besides the point. But like, he's playing. I mean, they moved him to right tackle, and he didn't. I mean, he didn't look good at all.
no, he was a
Not at all.
turnstile. Yeah,
He got used, and it's we've said. I think everybody said this multiple times since the offseason and even last year, like on our own whatever. It is nice to see the Cowboys on defense. You go into a game and you see that, man, these dudes they don't have a chance, a prayer to stop this pass rush, and they are taking advantage of it. Everybody's taking advantage of it. All the defense linemen, the corner,
yeah,
Wilson, your boy. I mean, you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see a Jordan Lewis corner blitz here in the next, soon. Probably he's probably going to smoke Carson Wentz from the blind side, and he's probably going to fumble it and roll all the way down, and then Anthony Brown on the other side of the field will probably pick it up and run it in. I'll just call that right now, you know. But it's just really refreshing to see. I don't know how the season's going to go, man, but to see them actually take advantage of dudes, bad players and shit, it's really really nice as a fan.
Yep. Dan Quinn. I mean, that's when it happened. It happened last year. It
Yeah.
didn't really happen before that. So.
No, that's what. Yeah, I mean, never happened before that ever.
yeah. I mean, Micah Parsons is good. He lined up across Evan Neal one play. I know he did multiple plays, but when Evan Neal had his false start, I mean that was very clearly because the poor dude was just
Yeah,
trying
he
to get a
peed on
step on
himself.
Parsons. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, he's pissed right
yeah.
down his leg. I don't. I mean, I'm sure I would too. But
Yeah.
I'm not the one on national television pissing down my leg, so that's not what it matters.
True. You
But I
weren't
mean,
the sixth overall pick.
I wasn't. But that's just the effect he has, right? People are just trying to get an extra step. And Micah Parsons, and when that happens, you open up holes across the entire line. Yeah, it's pretty sweet to see. Um, the next thing I had was, again, not in any kind of order, was the efficiency of Cooper Rush. Uh, there, I mean, his average per play went up a little bit. So I think week 2 it was, actually I have it open. Just give me a second. It was like 7 yards, whatever. I thought I had it. I don't have it. For the Giants, whatever. His average per play went up from week 2 to week 3. It was only by a yard or two, but I mean, they let him take some shots down the field, which was nice to see. I don't know, like, I don't really recall the Vikings game. I remember watching it last year, but I don't recall Cooper Rush really going deep
No.
as many times as he did week 3, right? Like, so I think that just shows how comfortable they really are with letting him kind of operate this offense and not just handing the ball off to Zeke, or or like just continuous crossing routes like at fucking 6 and out or whatever. So that was cool, and again, extremely efficient. He was 21 for 31. I think you're happy when even your starting quarterback puts up those kind of numbers. Over 200 yards, no interceptions. He's doing exactly what he's asked to do, which, I mean, sorry, Dak, but just take a vacation, bro.
Please.
My man.
I was gonna say, you're really going that far saying the offense was doing good? They put up 2 touchdowns in 7 quarters.
CD dropped one, or what could have been.
That pass interference. No, that was a touchdown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a defender behind him, but yeah, it probably was. Pass
I'm just saying,
interference missed.
you can't act like, I mean, they've been efficient, yes, but they put up 2 touchdowns in 7 quarters.
It's true. I would like to
How many
say
touchdowns did they put up when
Dak was right. Like, so I don't think Dak is actually. I don't think Cooper Rush is actually a better quarterback. Like, maybe I should just say that to whatever audience is listening to this. But I mean, Stash, you're defending Dak like he did something in week 1.
I'm not saying he did. He didn't do anything in week 1, but
Cooper Rush is throwing more
neither did
touchdowns than Dak.
neither did CeeDee Lamb or Noah Brown.
Why does there no? First of all, Noah Brown
Didn't do
is a
jack
man
shit.
is a man amongst men.
He's getting paid this
Because
offseason.
nobody's throwing him the ball. He's got to give him the ball. He might just catch it. You know what I'm saying?
I was just say the offense as a whole didn't do jack shit week 1.
It's true.
They didn't run the ball well. They
Dak.
didn't throw the ball well. They didn't catch the ball well. So
Okay. Anyway.
they didn't call the same plays.
It's true. Yeah, so
that's true.
Man, it is really strange that you saw in week 1, like, and I think it had to have been after week 1 when Mike McCarthy came out and pretty much said, like, fuck these option routes, right? Like, these are dumb. Like, I never ran these in my offense before. Blah blah blah. Whatever he was saying. And then they essentially dumbed down the offense for Cooper Rush. It's like, why don't they do that for Dak? Like, it's almost as if they're just like, man, we need Dak to be the hero.
Because he's a $40 million player, man.
It's like it's like
that's why they have to.
Well, they do things to get their wide
Marketing.
receivers open with Cooper Rush in the game, but they don't do those same things for Dak. It's like, what, you want the wide receivers to all of a sudden get open on their own without help when, like, it makes no sense.
I think it does have to do with Tampa Bay is a lot better of a team
Sure.
than Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
And New York.
That's definitely a portion of it.
But
all right, my last note, and then we can go down whatever rabbit hole you guys wish to if you want, was, how do I phrase this? So over the last 3 years, the Cowboys are 22-9 when rushing over 100 yards. And at least 5 of those losses were when Dak was hurt. So, potentially 27 and 4, or whatever that math is. Which, I bring that up because, again, obviously we had Dallas had over 100 rushing yards, closer to even 200, right? And it was just extremely efficient. On 30 rushes, or less than 30 rushes, I guess, rather, they had 176 yards. I understand it was against the Giants, but there's just this. I just wanted to point out that there is this recipe to win. As Stash essentially mentioned earlier, that they had a game plan for using Tony Pollard more at an effective clip, if you will. They just got to keep replicating that. I mean, it's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to run the ball when you don't fall behind early.
Yeah.
Which these past 2 games, they did not fall behind early. So it allows them to stick with their game plan and not have to have Cooper Rush go gunslinger mode or things like that. So I think that also helps. But yes, Dallas has over the past 3 to 5 years, maybe even more, when they run for over 100 yards, they usually win. So they just have to stay within the game for them to be able to do that.
That game is going to get really ugly if they get down early, But I don't know. I mean, also that, I mean, they should not get down to a big enough hole early in the game enough to where they don't, like, they should have been running the ball more against Tampa Bay. The game wasn't out of control. So I think that they, but I do think it is the mindset, whatever the quarterback is, the game is different. If your quarterback makes the big money, he's going to get, it's going to be more centered around him doing whatever it takes. The game plan changes. Even if it's the players are very similar or not. If Dak was making $10 million a year or 15 or 20 or whatever, or I don't know, whatever a normal, average backup quarterback would make, or middle of the road quarterback, I honestly do think it makes a difference.
One thing too is, I mean, I think I sent you the clip on this, but I did love to see it because you wouldn't have seen this 2-3 years ago. I loved seeing Zach Martin yell over to the sideline, "Stop calling that shit," when they ran the ball right up the middle with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. I wanted to say that too. Yeah, good call.
I think that just shows, they know, what plays work, what plays don't work, and things like that, and stop it. We're not calling staple plays just to call staple plays. If toss to the left works, fucking do toss to the left 5 times in a row until they stop it.
Yeah, holy shit, dude. Did you see fucking Tyler Smith on that fucking toss to the left? I don't know. I guess that toss
He
to the
got
left
2
is pretty
blocks and
generic, but
then
holy shit, man. Dude, I
Down the
would
field,
not.
yeah.
If I was a corner, I'd have just moved. I don't get paid enough to fucking get hit by this fucking dude.
Yo, seriously,
Nope.
that was very, very Tyron Smith, though, right? He's done that a million times in his career, right?
Yeah, I've
Blocking
seen
multiple
Tyron Smith
dudes and
make
then
some
get down to
fucking
murdering people. Yeah.
some nasty blocks, but man, dude, Tyler Smith, he was fast.
Oh, yeah.
That was some next level shit. Quite literally.
Well, I know it's early. It's 3 games, but if this stays like this, can you agree that your boy Tyron Smith's not seeing the field again?
No.
Oh boy, sensitive topic. You say no?
You said no.
I said no.
No, you would want him out there?
Yeah, that's what he's
First of
saying.
all, it doesn't have anything to do with me. All I'm saying is,
Well, we're asking you.
if Tyron Smith comes back healthy, if he's not on the IR and he comes back healthy, he will be playing. And I guess the only position he would be playing is left tackle.
I mean, there's no logic behind that though, right? We're saying, well, then why wouldn't they have put in Jason Peters at left tackle, right? He's healthy. Or why don't they?
He's not though, right? He only had 15 snaps, so he's not quite healthy
Well,
yet, right?
Okay, so theoretically, this is what's going to happen down the road. Tyron Smith comes back healthy because in the meantime, this is what's happening right now. You've got Tyler Smith at left tackle, Jason Peters, for all intents and purposes, when he gets in game shape, is going to be your left guard. It looks like Biotish, Martin, Steele. So you're saying when Tyron Smith comes back, Tyler Smith becomes your swing tackle because they're not moving Jason Peters.
I didn't. First of all, that's not what I said, right? And I don't agree with you that they wouldn't move Peters. So
you're going to move 2 guys. You're gonna move 2 guys or 1 guy who hasn't played, put him in a position he hasn't played or practiced at for probably 13 weeks.
You asked me for my opinion. I told you my opinion, man. Like I don't know how else to explain it. I don't think it's that difficult to understand. I don't know why it's that surprising. I don't really. I don't
Takes-
know. I mean, if that's the case, then they should have like. First of all, there's also. I mean, there's no way for us to know whether or not anybody else is gonna be hurt in that time period. If Tyler Smith or
No.
Tyron Smith comes back and somebody else is hurt, then like it's an easy win for me, right? But I
Yeah.
think if everybody's healthy, Tyron Smith is playing left tackle, and then they figure out if they want Tyler Smith as the starting right tackle, or he moves into left guard, and then you just figure out the opposite with Peters. That's just how. I mean, if not, then why are they? Why would they even worry if Tyron Smith comes back healthy or not? Just put him on the IR and just fucking wave him injured or whatever. You know what I mean? Get the I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. Is that he just I don't
Okay.
know. Tyler Smith is not he's not going to be playing well enough that then Tyron Smith doesn't come in and play.
Why not? He's
'Cause
played
he's
pretty
not.
well the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, but okay, like I mean, let's just break it down real easy, right? This is about as bare bones as I can do it. If we don't agree from this, then I guess we just have to wait and see what happens, okay? Going into the season, basically everybody liked the Tyler Smith pick because he was physical and shit or whatever, but he had all these penalties and nobody was really happy with the pick, right? I mean, it's pretty much the sentiment of what everybody said. They didn't like it. So now he's playing pretty good. So now everybody's jerking off about it. Okay. Okay, he's playing pretty good. I mean, I don't grade guys. I see he's mauling dudes. I see he's pulling, right? I see he's making lots of good plays, but then also he does get the penalty. His penalty game is strong. Like, let's not lie. And that's okay. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, I said I was okay with it from the beginning. It is what it is, right? He's just penalties are gonna happen. But like if people weren't happy about the pick and then he's playing pretty good, that means that he went from like let's say a 3 or like because you wouldn't have said he was a 5, like if you like weren't happy with the pick, right? Like okay, or let's say he's an average player. All he has to do is play a little bit better than that, and then he's better than where he was, right? But if you had said like going into it, you loved him, he was your favorite pick, like this was awesome shit, and like he was like an 8, starting left tackle, and he was playing good, then okay, I could way more agree with you that Tyron Smith wouldn't come back and play if he was healthy. But I mean we just don't agree with even where we're seeing him just because I don't know.
I see what you're saying. I think you're confusing the process with how the Cowboys got here and how we feel about it as a pick. Like how we feel about it as a pick is not relevant, right? Like, but how the Cowboys got to having Tyler Smith being left tackle is completely flawed, right? Like they drafted him to be the left guard, right? And then they magically stumbled upon like, well, we have no other fucking left tackle, so let's put him there, right? Like that was never the plan. So just because that's working out doesn't mean the people who didn't think it wasn't going to work out are like, man, you guys are dumb because you thought it wasn't going to work out. Like Dallas didn't think this was going to work out either. This was like plan fucking D.
See, I don't know if I agree with that either. I mean, he
took no snaps in the preseason at left tackle. There was no plan for this.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, Tyron Smith didn't get injured until like close to the season started, and so why would he be taking snaps away from? Okay, not that he'd be taking snaps away from Tyron
Josh Ball,
T. Smith. Yeah, but they had to see if Ball or Let's Go could play. They found out that neither of them could play, and then also Let's Go got hurt. Right? That's what happened. Be real. That's what happened. You think that they drafted Tyler Smith in the first round and thought, we don't think he could play left tackle?
I think
no, he was their left tackle.
Furthermore, that he was never the plan to be the left tackle.
Not this year.
Right. Yeah. This year. Right.
This current year, not this current year. Maybe 2 years down the line.
I don't know, man. I also think like it's really, really sketchy that you guys are like trying to predict injuries and you couldn't have predicted it. What if he didn't get hurt? What if what if Tyron Smith didn't get hurt? Okay. And he's playing like he normally would if he was healthy, whatever. And Tyler Smith was playing pretty good at left guard, like as good as he's playing at left tackle right now.
There would be no issue then.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying. Yeah, but I'm not saying there's an issue. You guys are saying there's an issue. I'm not.
No, that's
I think it's as simple as possible, or simple as it comes. Is first of all, like you guys said too, Peters is 40-something years old. So to think he's making it through the whole year healthy, that's a whole nother thing, right?
Sure,
But I just think
you're
it
right.
is as simple that if Tyler Smith plays good at left tackle, sure, you could keep him at left tackle, but you're not Tyler Smith when he comes back healthy is not sitting on the bench. It's not
Yes, he
happening.
is. If
Well,
if
I
everything
mean,
stays
well
as
then
it is.
let's put where our fucking money where our mouth is or whatever, and or like let's make a nice bet I mean let's put some because everybody just saying stuff, but like I mean
Well, here's the thing though too. I also don't think he's coming back.
that's fine. Well, yeah, but then that's definitely not a story. Like then why are we even talking about that? If you think
I
he's
just
not coming
asked a
back at
question.
all,
I just asked a question. Just because he's
I
looked.
gave you an answer and we disagree on a situation, so then it's like
Yeah.
the end of the world. I mean I don't
No,
really
I didn't. It's not the end of the world. I just don't think so. I think we already seen the answer of what Dallas is going to do.
yeah, so then our only option is to wait and see how things play out,
Yeah. So
I think it's just I don't know.
I I would let's maybe switch this to Stash over here getting upset over Dak. I would apply the exact same logic I applied to Tyler
Thank
Smith
you.
and Tyron Smith that
When
I
Dak
would
got
have.
hurt.
Well,
That's
yeah,
I mean
but
I was
what?
gonna say
Hang
that
on, what
too,
I'm
yeah.
about to say. So I think Dak's original projection was to come back. I think for like the Bears game. Whatever week 8 was, that was the original projection, right? Like I think that has been sped
Mhm.
up to maybe now the Eagles game. Um, I'll say this and I maybe let you guys run with it, right? Like, 'cause I think I might be the only one who thinks like this. But let's just say the Cowboys win against the Commanders, right? Like, I think we all think that's going to happen. Let's just say somehow they beat the Rams, right? And Cooper Rush doesn't piss down his leg, right? Like he plays decent,
He
right?
shouldn't. Yeah, he should be okay.
If Cooper Rush wins those 2 games without pissing down his leg and Dak is quote unquote healthy for the Eagles game, I'm not taking out Cooper Rush immediately, right? Like Cooper Rush would have to show me regression, a significant regression, to bring in Dak when he's healthy. I would apply that same logic if it was week fucking 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever the fuck. If Cooper Rush is winning games, you did not take the dude out with the fucking hot hand. Just like I would not take out Tyler Smith when Tyron Smith comes back if Tyler Smith is playing good enough to get the job done.
okay.
I that's all
Well,
I got.
okay. Okay. There's 2 different types of things there. We're saying Tyler Smith is playing at a good level, right?
Uh, good enough.
Good enough. So good to great level, right?
Sure, not pissing down his leg. That's how I'm gonna phrase that.
The
However,
scale can't go pissing on the leg, good, great. Like
well,
that's not
I mean,
it's
you're
just having a
not.
little bit bigger of the gap or
He's
something,
not
right?
screwing you, right? Like Tyler Smith is currently not
There's
screwing the
well,
Cowboys.
that's a big difference between. I mean, like I just said, the offense has scored 2 touchdowns in 6 quarters, basically, if not more.
Is that a quarterback deficiency or an offensive deficiency? Like,
3. So that's 7 quarters. The last 7 quarters, they scored 2 touchdowns. So you're saying that's good? Is that good to great level?
it, I no. I'm
Why are
also
we why are
saying
we taking out the first quarter?
I'm also not saying my
I'm just
quarterback
going
needs to be
back. So
great.
if you want it, we can go 3 in their last 8 quarters.
I think the
3 in the last 2 games.
Eagles lead the league in scoring, and they didn't score any touchdowns in the second half of their last game. Should we just use that stat?
Like the last 2 games, I don't
Last
think they have.
last 2 games, they've scored 3 touchdowns. Dallas, right?
Sure, yeah, and they've won both, for the record, in case nobody knew that.
Okay. So, but I'm just saying the offense is not world beaters. So you're saying you're not going to put it. You're gonna just because they're winning games, you're not going to take out your backup quarterback for your top 10 to 12 quarterback.
If my backup, I mean, look, from what we saw from Dak from week 1, he's not a top 10 quarterback. I understand that can change, and the offense has changed significantly since that first game, but from what we saw this year, if Cooper Rush wins the next fucking 4 out of the 5 games, hell yeah, I'm keeping him in, right? Because that dude's giving me the best chance to win than what we saw what Dak gave us. I don't know. I mean, I would also still say that Dallas isn't winning the Super Bowl this year, so fucking whatever. I know that's not the right thing. That's not really like your answer, but
Well, what if they don't? Oh, yeah, I guess I understand.
what?
I mean, I don't agree at all. I just think that as soon as Dak is ready to go, they're just going to play him. I don't think
I
it
think that's
matters
what
what
Dallas
Rush
is
does
going
and
to
shit.
do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
ultimately think that is what Dallas will do. I'm just saying what I think. That's what
I
I would
think
do.
I think for Dak not to play, it's going to depend on more than just winning the game.
Right.
Cooper
If
Rush is going to have to have like 3 touchdowns each game and things like that. 300-yard games, 3 touchdowns. And he's going to have to ball. He can't just win the game for them to not do that.
I don't know if there's any circumstance where he keeps Dak from playing.
But then again, I don't know. We don't know how many games away Dak is. Is it 2 games, 3 games, 4 games? So
Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Imagine the scenario, right? Like, let me paint you this extremely, extremely possible scenario. It's only one scenario of a million possible scenarios, but right, we go down to Washington and win, right? Like, that doesn't matter. That's not relevant, right? But then we go into LA and win. And then Dak's healthy, and he comes back for the Eagles game, and they fucking lose, right? That's extremely realistic, right? Whether it's
Okay.
because of Dak or not, right? Like, that's a whole different story, but like that is very realistic, right? Like, then there is this entire shitstorm of, man, like, did we really need to bring Dak back? Did we rush him back from his injury? Like, I mean, I'd rather Cooper Rush lose that game than fucking Dak.
well, here's the way I see it, and this is just me. And I think every win you get with Cooper Rush buys Dallas another week of giving Dak a week off to get healthy. You don't have to rush him back.
So I agree, but isn't that the same as when
What
Dak's
you just
health?
said?
Like, that's what I
Yeah.
said, just in different words. That's buying Dallas time, buying Dallas time, right? Like, if they think he
Well,
can come back this weekend, which they've already said, which I'm sure is full of shit, like, they're gonna put him in as soon as they think he's healthy, which is likely the Rams game. But like, hey
but I'm
man, if
just
Cooper
saying,
Rush is
like,
winning you games, that buys you time.
what they say the injury was 4 to 6 weeks, right? Or it's 4 to 6 to 8 weeks or something
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
I think the what each win like brings you further down to that. You
To
let
the
him
eight,
get
sure.
to the 8. Yeah, you don't rush him
But
back.
so what if you get to that 8 point and you've only lost one game, for example? The Rams. Let's say you lose the Rams game, but Dallas is
But you
like,
beat
man, he's not really
but
ready.
you beat
Let's
Philly,
sure.
and you so
So Dallas is
oh,
magically 7-1. Dak is healthy. Are you
seven.
bringing in Dak at that point?
How does the offense look? Is the
They're
defense just
seven and
winning you
one.
games? Well, I'm saying, is the defense winning you games? Is like, are you winning just because like the defense? Are you winning ugly games like this?
I mean,
Just like,
but that's going to happen with Dak, right? Like, Dak isn't, from what we
but
saw,
I'm saying
is not a top 10 quarterback.
Dak gives you the option to put up if
Does he?
gives you the option to put up 300 yards. Cooper Rush hasn't done that and won't do
He
that.
he would have if CD fucking catches the ball. I'm just saying. I mean, he threw for 215,
I
and
mean,
CD still had
he
two
dropped
drops that
passes to
game.
Dak week 1.
Yeah,
So
but
did Noah Brown.
Dak threw for like 70 yards. No.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the same thing happened.
Yeah.
CD dropping passes for everybody.
Man, that's interesting. That's like two top. We are way off. I mean, I think as soon as Dak says he's healthy, he's playing. It
I
doesn't matter
I
what the winning streak is. It
I
doesn't.
think that's what Dallas will do. That I'm just again painting a scenario of an extremely possible scenario.
Hmm.
I mean, we'll see. Time will tell.
I mean, I'll say right now. I think the Cowboys will beat the Rams.
I don't.
I think if
I'm
with the
just
way
I'm
they're
sick and tired
playing,
of.
why
I'm,
not? Right?
I'm
Like, the
sick and tired
Rams
of
aren't
everybody
good.
talking about the Rams, man. Yeah.
The Rams haven't played good. Right, where they're 2-1, and who did they beat? They just got fucked on by the Bills. Yeah, they beat the Cardinals and Falcons. Who cares? They beat Mighty Mouse and fucking Marcus Mariota.
Hey.
All right,
Eminem.
whatever. Cowboys podcast. Do you guys have anything else on your sweet little hearts? Week 3, whatever.
I got one thing just want to say, just because I know I texted to you guys earlier. I'm gonna give a little golf clap to Mike McCarthy because we goddamn no fucking Cowboys wouldn't be winning any games without their starting quarterback with Jason Garrett as head coach. So
True.
I'm starting to look better and better with saying where I thought McCarthy was as a head coach, huh?
Yeah. I mean, Cowboys are 7-7 under Mike McCarthy with a backup quarterback.
Mhm. Yeah, and Garrett
Yeah.
was what, like 1-13, I think the stat was.
So worse than
It
was
was it
bad.
was gross, whatever it was. Like that dude should be in
And
fucking jail.
Danucci only started one game, right?
Judge,
Did he finally hit the home
61.
run? It sucks I'm not watching it. I have the game too.
Shame.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, man, this is this is tough to
Let's
say
do it,
because
dude.
I
Let's
think
talk
I
about
was.
coaches in the off season. Let's do it.
Oh no.
No.
Oh yeah, in the offseason we will talk about coaches, yeah. But what about Kelvin Joseph is playing his way off this team, isn't he? Like he's good on. I mean, he's making special teams play, man. But he gets on the field on defense every single time there's a penalty on him.
That's true.
Came on the field and he had the face mat like listen. This is gonna. I can't say this, but I'm gonna say it, right?
Well, don't say it.
Okay. You can't be. I mean, you can't be. I'm gonna say this creatively, okay? You can't be significantly more athletic and gifted than the person that you're guarding, and have to like cheat your way to like attempting to defend them. If you
yeah.
can't, you know. And why are you face masking? I just don't like. There's just it's just he's
He got beat.
he's so not. I don't even think he was beat. He's not.
He's grabby.
I don't know what he got on his SAT scores. You know what I'm saying? Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean?
I didn't score high on mine either. So
then the knock on him coming out of college was he was
a shooter.
He was I'm saying he was grabby. He was very handsy, and they just thought that might not get called or could teach him out of it, and he's still doing it. So
can he stay on the field? Okay, here's the scenario, right? Because I mean, I assume you guys. I didn't pick this up at first, and I'm gonna butcher his name again, but Mukwamu, number 24, got in the game late to be the other corner / safety type of guy in the passing downs late. And I didn't put two and two together. I saw Mukwamu on the field, but I didn't realize that Joseph was the person not on the like he took Joseph's spot basically, right?
yeah.
So let's just say for one game, it's only one game because I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but
Tyron
Anthony
Smith.
Brown or Jordan Lewis gets hurt, right? And so they have to play. One of the other guys have to play. Now Bland hasn't played at all, right?
No.
You know, so does he get more snaps? Does Joseph get more snaps? Or does Mukwamu get the corner snaps in that scenario?
So
I think.
Go ahead, Sash. Sorry.
I think it would still go to Joseph, just because I think even though he's grabby, handsy, whatever, I still think they trust him more than Mukwamu. At least as of right now.
I wouldn't mind seeing Bland, right? Like, let's see what we got in him, right? Like this is an extremely in my opinion, this is an extremely volatile time for the Cowboys, right? Like we are playing with house money right now, and by we I mean the Dallas Cowboys are playing with house money right now in the sense that they have a backup quarterback who's getting the job done, right? This is the time to try some shit, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing Bland take some snaps, right? Oh yeah, I don't mean to infer that they're not, but let me try some extra shit. I don't know. And if for some reason that's not really jiving or whatever, go to fucking 3 safeties. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's what they did with Mukwamu, yeah.
Well, I'm go 3 high, not Mukwamu at corner. Like you're talking about the safety room being fucking stacked, essentially, at least for Dallas's terms. Like
Curse has been hurt.
Well, yeah, but that's what I would put Curse out there as the second or the third safety in this.
Yeah, I think they will.
Right, like just get athletes on the fucking field, man.
Well, what would you have said that if through 3 weeks and are we all? I mean, we don't need. Do we also think that the Cowboys have a good chance of beating Washington on Sunday?
Yeah.
We won't say yes or no. They will, but let's just we'll give it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think Dallas will be the favorite.
So they are the favorite. Yeah, I think that's
3 right now.
3 or something like that, whatever. But okay, so they go in and they win, or they're playing at home. So they win at home, and through 4 weeks they're 3-1. Okay.
Okay.
If I had a little magic ball, right? I'm rubbing a magic ball right now. I would have predicted before the season because I did. They'd be 3-1. But that's not the point. Is that they would have went 3-1 without your starting quarterback, right? Your best tight end, right? Schultz,
Yep.
or at least a couple of the games, right? Gallup doesn't play, right? Connor McGovern, your starting left guard, who you don't want to be your starting left guard or whatever, but he's your starter, so he counts for something.
Yep.
And J-Ron Curse, who was your second best defensive player or third best defensive player, whatever you want to say, but very
Your left
important
tackle.
guy. That's what I said. Didn't I say Tyron Smith first? No. Oh no, okay. I meant, but all those guys don't play basically the majority or almost any or the majority of any of the first 4 games, and they're 3-1. Would you have signed up for that?
Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would sign up for it, but there's no way. If you told me that was gonna happen, I'd have told you you're fucking high.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I agree with you. Like the house money thing, I think is huge, but that's why it's big that they got these wins now, because it's going to come down to the end. At this rate, when you're in this situation. But I think you're right. There's a lot of guys that are getting valuable game time right now, snaps, plays or whatever, and I think that will only help them at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's also going to help them next year too, right? Like,
no, yeah,
100%.
100%.
A lot of these young guys are just getting snaps at.
I do have one thing I want to say, just because it happened at the end of each half.
Oh boy.
Is Dallas needs to figure out what their clock management shit, or at least talk to their young guys about when to not fucking run out of bounds.
Oh, was that Hendershot?
I think it was Ferguson.
Ferguson. Oh yeah, it was one of the tight ends. Yeah.
But, well, the running out of bounds was Ferguson. He's got to know. They got to talk to him.
Fourth quarter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. I mean, that was 30 seconds. I mean, right there.
If they would have lost that game, man, or that would have went to overtime, and that would have been
the
top.
Because they needed those 30 seconds. They would have needed those 30 seconds, and then it worked out in their favor. But McCarthy can't be calling that timeout. Whatever he did with fucking 8 seconds left, 10 seconds left.
That was a sketchy one.
What was the explanation for it though?
I don't think there was. I don't think it was actually asked after the game.
Because I didn't hear anything this more today either, like at the press conference. So I was just curious if you guys heard that.
I mean, the Giants had 2 or 3 timeouts. They could easily, if they complete that pass, they can call a timeout, and their kicker has a fucking leg too. So
yeah, man, I don't even know if you can say this is logical or not, but the only logical explanation I could think of or I've heard is that he was really just betting that the defense would come up on 4th down and he could get the ball back and, as we saw, attempt the field goal, which is exactly what happened, right? But I'm like, man, that's
dumb.
That's dumb, right? That's not even a ballsy bet. They're like, that was a dumb bet. It worked out. I mean, Dallas missed the field goal, but in general it worked out. But it's like, man, that's really dumb. Like, you can't do that if you're in a win or go home game.
That's not on McCarthy though, right? He probably's got it is on McCarthy because he makes the call, but he probably has the numbers on him, right? The sheet where it says that this the percentage that you do that. You know what I mean? I didn't really understand it either.
I don't think that's an analytic thing.
I think that's
I'm just rolling dice right now thing.
The only thing I thought is he didn't think the defense was ready for the 4th down play or something like that, or he didn't want to give them it didn't make any sense to me.
Okay, I was confusing what the topic was. I'm sorry. I think that's why he called that timeout, is because the defense was tired and he figured might as well use the timeout to give them that extra 30 seconds. But something happen?
Clock was running though. Like the Giants weren't ready enough to. They were going to call their own timeout and probably throw a Hail Mary.
Right. So I didn't like it either. But I do kind of understand it. Okay, so what if they did get the playoff and they do make a big gain or they score the touchdown, right? Then somebody would have said, hey, look, you had a timeout. Your guys were a little gassed or whatever. Your best guys were on the field. Why didn't you call the timeout to give them 30 seconds so then they could get a proper pass rush? Or
were the Giants going to go for it if they didn't call the timeout?
Well, here's the thing, though. So too, if you do that, you wait, because the Giants weren't ready to snap the ball just yet. There was 8 seconds left. You wait till there's 4 seconds left, so that they can only get one play off anyways.
But I mean, even then, do you still gain in the same, even if they waited 4 seconds, right, to right for it? I mean, they still gain 26 seconds, right, from the timeout to if they'd only waited 4.
But I'm just saying, but you don't allow the Giants to if Giants run a quick slant there, they get 2 plays off.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
Like Steve said, it worked out for Dallas just because they stopped them and then got their own play. But
It was a
You
bad
can't
bet.
bet on it. You
Or
cannot
dumb.
bet on that.
No. Yeah, it was.
It's just dumb.
I didn't like it. That's not something you do again. You're not, it's not like you go like, man, well, week 3 we called the timeout here and we got a fucking field goal attempt.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you make that bet again.
That's how you lose games.
Yeah, potentially for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I buy that. I'll agree to that.
But yeah, I mean, that was a teaching moment for Ferguson. So
Happens, I guess. He's a rook, right?
Went to Wisconsin, damn it. He shouldn't make those mistakes.
no, Travis Frederick would never.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he's doing now, right?
Wow.
Actually, I don't
dude.
know what he's doing, but he ain't playing football.
Like fishing or something, right?
He might be.
He ate that. What was it? Guillain-Barré.
Yeah, well, it was a Gillian Bar or something, but
No.
Tomato,
whatever.
tomato.
Will, any last minute, second, tenth of a second fucking thoughts or whatever on the week 3 performance?
I'm good.
Close it out for
I'll
us.
see you on. Oh Jesus, that's a whole different thing. Go Cowboys. Tune in for our prediction for the upcoming week. Let's go.